I'm watching people right now. 1 second. Oh jeez. Oh, I feel like this has to be a JDAM. No, I'm just kidding. These were probably bombs, right? That's my guess. Jesus Christ. That dude's just open. Show us? I don't think I can show you the insides of another person like that. Can you explain why House fired Chase? Nope, I don't remember. Did he actually? I think he might have. There are so many things that they went back and forth on in the House, like firing and hiring people and people quitting and rejoining over. I forget. All of that like runs together for me. Can you post the link? I guess, here. I don't know if I can post it in YouTube chat though, so. Most batteries would just fizzle and burn, and pager batteries are small. Oh yeah, true. These pager batteries must be they must still be lithium-ion batteries, right? Even because they're modern pagers, I would imagine, right? But I guess they could be like double A's or something. I don't know. Do modern pagers use lithium-ion batteries? Aftermath of pager on a table. They might use alkaline batteries? Oh yeah, then it was definitely bombs, right? I mean, it was probably bombs anyway, but...
يا عم بس ركز شوي هيدا رايح هيدا اسمع وهيدا رايح ما تجيبش الحال جيب الطوايح هذا في يدي.
According to Sky News Arabia, Mossad was able to inject a compound of pentaerythritol tetranitrate, PETN, into the batteries of the new encrypted pagers that Hezbollah began using around February before they even arrived in the hands of Hezbollah members, allowing them to remotely overheat and detonate the lithium battery within the device. Do lithium batteries just detonate? I know that when lithium batteries explode, lithium batteries store a decent amount of energy that can come out in a really bad way. Here, actually, you guys should watch this. I'm sorry, because I still see people do this. You know, in airplanes, they say, if you drop your phone, call a flight attendant or whatever. You don't really like need to call a flight attendant if you're trying to get your phone. But the reason why they say that is because sometimes when people drop a phone, when they reach down to grab it and they can't find it, they start adjusting their seat or whatever to try to see if they can find the phone. But the problem is you can break the phone while you're adjusting your seat looking for it. And these batteries can cause like if you were to blow up a lithium-ion battery in an airplane cabin, you would fuck the flight up for like half the people. Nobody said that shit, like 50-year-old ass man. What are you talking about? What? I fly a ton. They always tell you, if you drop your phone in between the seats, call a flight attendant. That's fine. If you've never flown an airplane before, it's okay. I will fuck your mom in the ass. I can't even say that. I can't make fun of you guys for being poor and rich at the same time. Actually, I can do that. What was the one lyric? Oh, they said I can't rap about being broke no more. They didn't say I can't rap about coke no more. I don't think that fits into anything that we just spoke about here, but fuck yourself. The argument for abortion is about conscious experience rather than inherent right to exist. Then is eugenics of severe cognitive defects moral? Can't a horrid and warped existence be considered worse than a temporary low conscious experience? I mean, it's possible. Sure, there's some, yeah, obviously. Like, let's say that you know for a fact somebody's going to be born and they're going to suffer every single fucking day of their life. I mean, yeah, you can probably... What's that? There's that horrible... My God, what's it called? Something like ichthytosis. I can never pronounce this. harlequin ichthyosis? Ichthyosis? I don't even know if I can show pictures of these affected kids. Well, no, I guess here's some people growing up and living. I have to turn safe. Oh, Jesus. Okay. But anyway, hold on. You need to be aware of this, okay? Because a lot of people aren't aware of this. If you're like if you're gonna try to like change something in a phone, or if you've got something in an airplane, like just be aware of like phone lithium ion batteries, okay? Have a lot of got a lot of energy in them. What airline do you fly? I've never heard of the call the flight attendant to retrieve drop phone on flight. I don't know. American, Delta, Southwest, Spirit. I hear this all the time. I hear tons. I hear it randomly a lot, I guess. I don't know. There are worse ones too. Anyway, just be careful. If you puncture it, it'll just like slowly like fizzle, but like spray out disgusting, probably carcinogenic material. Would that not be easy to do, or would that not be easy to do intentionally? Are you asking, could you intentionally puncture a battery? I mean, if you were intentionally trying, you could, but I mean, this guy's literally stabbing it directly with an exposed battery and trying to puncture it. The only way this would happen accidentally is with a lot of torque. Like if you drop a phone somewhere and you're moving a seat and it's getting like flexed, then you could probably break a battery. But in normal operation, it shouldn't happen. But if you have if you've got like a phone or a battery, like an external battery or something, and it's starting to bulge a ton, I think that's a warning sign as well. A plane terrorist attack, he means, I think. Oh, maybe. I don't know. Probably not. I don't know. You're not supposed to bring knives with you, right? This is why when you check in luggage, though, I believe in checked in luggage, they don't allow you to have a ton of these batteries, or batteries of a certain size, or maybe any lithium-ion batteries at all, or no external ones, because if they start to break in cargo, it could just fuck everything up down there.
Meanwhile, like LSF and shit. Meanwhile, like LSF is probably too busy fucking yelling about someone. It's just like it's such a. It was deleted, the Maya one. Oh really? LSF is.
Oh my god, he got mad at the Maya clip. What did she say? She opened Hasan's stream and he was saying something about like this guy says the N-word. He got mad at that.
Is done. Like it just sucks that there's no one place that we can go to see what the fucking top clips are. But honestly, LSF is so obviously like toxic, so obviously 30 plus years old, and so obviously resentful and extremely online Redditors. I'll say it. I think Destiny's community 100% ruined it. Like they brigaded it so much that it just became ass cheeks. Where you notice like anytime like you got his clips, he got like 1,000 people watching him, and his clips get like 1,000 upvotes, and it's like
little bro. I'm barely posted on LSF. You realize they literally soft banned my content by banning politics, right? Wait, is there a post that shows who got more posts over the last year? Didn't, like, my shit is, like, soft banned from the fucking subreddit. What are you I was actually literally banned from that subreddit for, like, a year or two.
Fuck.
Also, why does Hasan keep acting like he's so much younger than me? He's 2 years younger than me. I don't understand where there's like almost 40.
Anytime, like you got his clips, he got like 1,000 people watching him, and his clips get like 1,000 upvotes, and it's like the fuck. Like I never really go on it anymore, but every now and then I'll just check in to see like if anything is popping off.
I never go in anymore, but every now and then I check. That stands for I go there every single fucking day.
And it just sucks. Like it literally is just a rage Reddit. You know. It's sad.
I feel like we do check LSF every day, and it's usually just like random, boring OTK shit or whatever. He's using your Kick viewership to say that you're a 1K Andy. Well, yeah, I am, true. Why is he complaining about the users being 30 plus? He's 30 plus. Oh, yeah. If you ever grow out his live viewer count, he's 100% going to kill himself. Oh, yeah. But he has exclusive reign on Twitch for politics, so as long as I'm banned from that platform, his ego is safe. Plus, however much he view bots now.
In to see, like, if anything is popping off. And it just sucks. Like, it literally is just a rage Reddit. You know, it's sad. I think it's also botted to oblivion, too. Yeah, like, the phase clips would be going crazy on there normally. Like, even with drama, it's just like... Anyway. I'm happy, though.
Yeah, you sound like it.
I'm happy, though, that it, like, kind of blew up on its own due to all the brigading and the toxicity. But...
person. He was very sensitive to disgust, you know, because you think, well, the Nazis were afraid of the Jews.
This entire drama fest started because Destiny viewers tried to pit your viewers and Ethan and his viewers against each other. It worked. They continue to do this every day. And this chat constantly falls to the bait. Yeah, exactly. And it is also because there is a real, genuine parasocial desire from people who...
99% of the time somebody throws in the word parasocial desire, it means nothing. It just, like, it literally means absolutely nothing. God, that was such a stupid word. I don't remember what video essay blew this into the fucking atmosphere for awareness for everybody, but the word parasocial is just such a mind rot.
It is also because there is a real, genuine parasocial desire from people who consume a lot of this content, whether it be just Ethan or myself or both, to, like, constantly cover a issue of real geopolitical significance, an issue of genocide, but from this incredibly narrow framing of, like, what does this content creator think about this other content creator? As I always say, drama makes boring subject matter incredibly consumable.
The reason why drama worked, he has it so backwards. I think Hasan generally has a decent understanding of, well, actually, I'm not sure if I should say that. I don't know if that's true, for how, like, online content and everything works. The reason why drama is so captivating is drama is inherently interesting. Drama is inherently fascinating. That's why it's called drama. There's usually some human aspect or human element to it that you immediately relate to. That's why reality TV took over everything, because for low cost, no script writing, for basically nothing, you get incredibly captivating material that people will be roped into watching and obsessed with for almost nothing. Drama is like that's like the human condition.
Okay. And that's precisely the reason why people, like, randomly will bring up Ethan, which I think is, like, not only unproductive, but stupid as fuck. Like, I don't give a shit. You know?
Also, you can't really speak negatively about parasocial or anything when you're a streamer, dog. We're live for, like, 7, 8, 9 hours a day. Like, what do you think? Of course, people are building you into their schedule more than any other type of content that's ever existed in the history of all of mankind.
Anyway, Ethan's so fucking woke on certain issues that he did things that I wouldn't have done, like deleting the Jordan Peterson videos, unless he, like, felt embarrassed by it, which is a, you know, different thing. But and
he can't be that dense, Tommy, please. He can't possibly blame everyone but himself for leftovers falling apart. Even after Ethan said explicitly that Hasan's community is toxic as fuck, he still blames brigading. I don't know what he thinks truly in his own mind. I'm not personal friends with him or anything, so I can't say. And I don't watch enough of his stuff to know, like, how much is true versus how much he has to put on for the audience. But I know that public-facing, he could never admit that it was his fault. Of course not. That would be like it would be one of the biggest walkbacks ever. It would require so much. He's not a big enough person for that, ever. I think I tweeted this meme out a while ago because it's a based meme. Does he truly not blame his community at all? No. Do you think you could do that? No, I've never admitted to any wrongdoing on this stream ever in my entire life. I would just rebrand.
I think that the thing that we have to take away from the last 10 years is that we really need to be really ruthless when it comes to the exercise of power. I was talking about this with someone earlier today, where you remember there was some threat that congressional or Senate Republicans made. If you get rid of the filibuster, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. You actually look at it, it's like, oh, this is not that interesting.
We're going to actually deliver on our promises that we've made for decades.
This is the threat. If you get rid of the filibuster, we're going to do this stuff. Like, they're talking about expanding the Supreme Court. They're talking about adding, 2 senators from heavily Democratic places.
You get rid of the filibuster, we'll actually deliver on
Did
They're talking about adding senators from heavily. Is he talking about D.C. and Puerto Rico? It should always clue you in when Republicans are so fucking scared of expanding the right to vote to other people. That should always clue you in for what's going on in their minds.
we don't want to do.
So I think, look, I am a cynic about this and maybe even a little bit of a pessimist, but I think the challenge confronting American conservatives is that we have lost every major powerful institution in the country, except for maybe churches and religious institutions, which of course are weaker now than they've ever been. We've lost big business, we've lost finance.
You haven't, you've lost them, but that's because you turned your back on all of these things. Like, even the idea, I might have even said this kind of retardedly, but it's not really true. Like, conservatives are trying to conserve the past and liberals are trying to move to the future. Like, that's not really true. That's a pretty simplistic outlook on how things are supposed to work. But if you're literally trying to do that, if you're literally just trying to hold on to the past and you don't ever want to move into the future, yeah, of course, you're going to lose everything. You guys have just become like a hate-filled group of disgusting, narcissistic, like evil, negative people. So yeah, of course you've lost everything, all the institutions and all the big business, because you hate big business, you hate corporations, you hate trade, you hate globalism, you hate other countries, you hate the police. Like, you're conservatives and you hate like all the, yeah, it's crazy. Guys, oh my God. You want to know what I've read? I'm not going to ever read the full report. I don't know, bro. I'm having so many thoughts. I'm having so many second thoughts about this country. Bro, the Bill Clinton shit was unreal. That is an unbelievable. What the fuck? The Ken Starr shit? That came off of a special counsel that spent 4 years Bro, that entire story is actually unbelievable. What the fuck? Does anybody know where the Monica Lewinsky like how any of that even happened? I will admit, okay, I spent less than an hour reading about this. I was like, no shot. Because I kind of want to read the whole Ken Starr report. It seemed like there was, I don't remember the origination of this. Ken Starr was the special counsel, right? Wait, Kenneth Starr. I don't know if he was, no, I don't believe he was the special counsel. He was the independent counsel. It was different because they wanted somebody independent even from the, like even more independent than a special counsel. There was an accusation of Bill Clinton in a civil case having to do, I think, with sexual assault. And Republicans were so obsessed. You want to talk about a fishing expedition? They hired this Ken Starr guy to make sure that Bill Clinton was being honest in a sexual harassment or whatever civil suit, okay, that didn't involve Monica Lewinsky at all. And this guy dug for like 4 years to finally find something. And then from all of that, the Monica Lewinsky stuff eventually gets uncovered, and then all of it gets published by this guy. But the entire investigation behind this was so wild. Like, what the fuck? This was the craziest fishing expedition I've ever heard of in my entire life. Holy shit. Kavanaugh was on the start team, by the way. Based. But anyways, not that it matters. I've looked like briefly into the I didn't realize how fucked this was too. What? I don't want to look into these because it's going to make me mad, and I have other shit that I need to read. And it makes you sound like a partisan hack to say this. But I really, right now, I'm in the 55% camp that the 2000 election was just flat out fucking stolen from Gore. What the fuck? Are legal scholars like divided, or is there a good defense for that Supreme Court case? Alan Lichtman says he has the leading paper for how it was stolen. How many different recounts was Donald Trump able to perform for his fucking bullshit ass? Wait, hold on. Oh my God. And now that I understand the civics better, like now I see it's even like more insane. It's even more ridiculous. I would have to go back and revisit this because I remember reading a little bit about this case like 2 months ago. Somebody emailed me about it. It's like, oh, okay, was it actually fucked? This decision was made on December 12th. So the Electoral College vote certification, like where they open the votes and they read them, wouldn't have even been until a month later. What the fuck? Why? What was the rationale given? I haven't read the actual decision. I don't want to read the decision. The court ruled on equal protection grounds that the recount be stopped. The states have to certify by the 15th? So the fuck what? Hold on. Excuse me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Haven't we heard over and 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 over again that if you want to send in 2 sets of electoral votes to wait for a recount to finish, that you have the right to do that? Isn't that exactly the actual argument that's brought up when conservatives talk over and over and over and over again about the 1960 2 slates of votes that were sent in from Hawaii? The state legislature just authorized both to go in pending the outcome of the recount. Isn't that exactly what Trump's campaign told every single fake elector, that they got to fraudulently attest to being real electors without the approval of the state legislatures? That, oh, we'll just keep these as backup in case we win our voter fraud cases? Like, my understanding is Gore got a few recounts, but then was denied the last one on the grounds that he only requested 4 recounts. They would likely win and not the entire state, so it was unfair. Oh shit, is that true? Did he only want to recount in one area? I don't want to get into this. We don't have time. You know what? We'll add that though. We're gonna add that to the roster of things. Bush v. Gore. The Churchill historian talking about your issue with quote mining historians. Oh, we didn't finish this. Hold on.
Every major powerful institution in the country, except for maybe churches and religious institutions, which of course are weaker now than they've ever been. We've lost big business, we've lost finance, we've lost the culture, we've lost the academy. And if we're going to actually really affect real change in the country, it will require us completely replacing the existing ruling class with another ruling class. I say that knowing and hearing myself, it sounds really hard. It is really hard, but I don't think there's like a detent with these people. I don't think there's sort of a compromise that we're going to come with the people who currently actually control the country. Unless we overthrow them in some way, we're going to keep losing. And that's the challenge. Now,
and I'm an amateur, and I feel like I can read things.
I think I'm going on this podcast tomorrow night.
Fairly. I think it's more that he's an unfair historian. But would you agree there's a trend these days of kind of cut and paste, Control F history, where people just scour documents and they search on keywords and they find a quote here and a quote there, and they piece together like a Frankenstein monster version of any event that they want. You can find a quote from any great world leader who spoke a lot and had a diary to make any case that you want. And you need people to be of fair spirit, and that's really the problem.
What it is really is context. If you're going to make a quotation,
You're increasingly memeing or maybe not memeing about leaving this country. Would you actually know memes? What would actually make no memes make you leave? The Trump stuff is really blackpilling. I'm going to be honest. I think like right now I need Trump to lose, and then I need like half this country to do a huge walk back and have a big wake up moment of like, oh shit, we're actually insane. I think that we're on a very, very bad path right now. Like I think we're on a bad road, and I don't know how long the institutions can like keep everything together. We are so divided inside. We don't even have a united front facing the rest of the world, which I think is very scary. And now when we start to see conflict break out, we don't have the ability to mount a united like foreign policy. Like if China were to invade Taiwan, I have no fucking idea what this country would do right now. I have no clue. I think that it sucks because I'm thinking of the Angela Merkel quote, America not leader world. This is in the middle of Trump's presidency. Merkel says Europe can't rely on U.S. to impose world order. We take matters close to home into its own hands. We can't rely on the superpower of the United States, Merkel told a news conference in Berlin. Maybe the full context of this quote is maybe she's just saying Europe should take more responsibility. But I mean, at one point in time, at least, like the United States was seen as a world leader on stuff like this. Yeah, fuck. We need more Biden speech in the Senate. It would have been right on the Bosnia stuff. Like we don't have any of this like fire for being like a world leader anymore. Iraq fucked my whole generation's appreciation and understanding of international affairs.
This resolution does not endorse the President's decision. It does not endorse the agreement reached in Dayton.
Watching during election season is rough. There's so much I want to confront you with, but none of the conservatives you talk to are intelligent enough to confront you, and my personal reasons to be right aren't the main talking points. Okay.
It does support our men and women in uniform. It does limit the mission to military tasks only and requires a realistic exit strategy based on the goal of Bosnian self-reliance. To put it simply, President Clinton has a plan to get us into Bosnia. This resolution shows us a way out. This is a signal to the American forces that we support you. We support you, as we should.
Committee. But Europe cannot stay united without the United States. There is no moral center in Europe. When in the last 2 centuries had the French or the British or the Germans or the Belgians or the Italians moved in a way to unify that continent, to stand up to this kind of genocide? When have they done it? And the only reason anything is happening now is because the United States of America finally is understanding her role.
Allowing us to make this announcement.
No one will deny that it's more a response.
I'm a liberal. This shit is so hawkish. Stabilizing is a lame excuse for war and is why we were in the Middle East for 2 decades. Yeah, welcome. Hello, millennial that is traumatized by the Iraq war. Yes. The decisions that we made in Iraq and Afghanistan were bad decisions, for sure. But that doesn't mean that we should abdicate our entire foreign policy position and just leave Russia and China to run the rest of the world.
You really should try.
What do you think the big takeaways from Iraq should be? I'm sure there are people that are way smarter than me that have written about it, but I think one of the big issues is, I don't know if you would call it mission creep, but basically not having clearly defined goals. It's the same thing, I guess, as like doing like a huge new like software project or whatever, right? Not having like very clearly defined goals or like victory conditions at the very beginning, I think, was probably a huge issue going in. We didn't know what it meant to win the war. And we didn't like have a clear plan going in of what things would look like afterwards. So it just kind of like got drawn out into forever.
Try to put it in some kind of a context. And in order to do that, you have to really very often go to the original sources. And that involves visiting archives and reading the evidence. And that's, I think, the problem with Cooper is that he certainly doesn't do that. I don't know whether he's written any books or anything like that. I think that would be a prerequisite for being considered to be an historian. I like you. I don't.
Same thing Israel and Russia is doing right now. I think Israel and Russia both probably have actually pretty clear goals, no? In the way that they operate. That one Hezbollah dude who got them a great deal on thousands of pagers. Which countries think we are the good guys for helping all these years? I'm pretty sure most countries have like a favorable view of the United States. I know the meme is that from white 19-year-old college girls is that, oh, every single country in the world fucking hates the United States. Everybody fucking hates America. Everybody fucking hates. When I travel, I have never in my life seen anybody actually do this in real life. I don't know if there are like college kids that do this. When I travel and I go to other countries, I have to pretend that I'm Canadian because they hate Americans so much. Okay.
Your brain is two brains, two hemispheres.
Oh, we've watched this. What's Israel's goal? To kick the can down the road with Palestinians as much as possible so they can just keep taking shit over? Would it not be to eliminate Hamas? Oh, you mean for the current war? Oh, I don't know how well defined their mission objectives are for the actual, for the micro conflict, or I shouldn't say micro, for the actual, whatever you would call this war. Why do most college kids think it's cool to throw the U.S. under the bus all the time? I don't know. It's like a punk rock attitude. Like you grow up and you just rebel. You know, you're like, oh, fuck this. Popular channels on LSF in June. 3 years. This is 3 years old, my dude. But thanks, I guess.
Today we're doing something different because several of you sent me this video of some TikTok where they were building do-it-yourself body armor, taking ceramic tile.
The more time passes, the more I feel like Russia's invasion of Ukraine was the beginning of the end for the U.S. being supplanted as the world's leading superpower. It wasn't that. It was the popularity of populism is what did it, right? 2016 Trump. The idea of just hating every fucking thing that wasn't one guy. Is what has destroyed so many parts of this country right now. My aunt has a friend who worked in the State Department during the Iraq War and says there's legit good reasons they went in, but they're still classified. Possible, or is my aunt misunderstanding / retarded? I would assume just making shit up, but who knows?
And duct tape. And so we did the same thing. We've got piles of it to go together. I don't know how well it will work, but I would not trust my life to it, but we don't know until we try. And I guess with everything, there's a morsel of truth because this is some level 4 body armor that stops all the way up to 30-06 with the armored piercing rounds. And as you can see, there are ceramic pieces in it. Now these are much more dense and they have got to be better quality than a hardware store.
Why is there always a need to rebel as a young adult? I don't know, ask a psychologist. Probably something is that when you hit a certain age you want to start to craft your own story for who you are. You want to kind of set out and be your own kind of person, and usually the easiest way to separate yourself from another thing is to hate it. So maybe I'm just spitballing this off the top of my head. I don't know.
Child, but we don't know inches. I mean, and it has this or mag dumping submachine guns into them at point blank range, and it just stopped everything. Now their second generation Hyperline is actually thinner and lighter, and it has this memory.
I don't care about this.
I can drive. I'm not
How's it
tired.
feeling, guys? It's good. It's smooth.
Okay.
Ralph IFM just subscribed.
I am not tired.
Well, rate cuts lower inflation by lowering interest payment on government debt. Somebody could correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure if the government is issuing debt, it has to pay rates that were related to like whatever's printed on the bond or whatever. When you're selling treasury bonds and stuff, you can't change that after they've already been sold. You can't do that, right? No, I know you can't do that. There's no way you can do
Both
it.
sides of the street. Ah, there's someone coming! He came so fast.
He's turning.
Oh.
If you go through New Mexico.
I can drive. I'm not
How's it
tired.
feeling, guys?
It's good. It's smooth.
Okay.
Ralph IFM just subscribed.
I am not tired.
Checking both sides of the street. Ah, there's someone coming!
Okay.
Next chef mal peças jadida. Chef mal peças jadida ولا قديمة. Alô? وين الشيف؟ Next chef mal peças jadida.
Okay. Were they portable bombs? Probably. They mentioned no, not mentioned, I'm sorry. Nope. Fuck, what was the name of the guy that Israel killed? This guy. Oh, it was in 96. So about 30 years ago, I think Israel somehow got this guy a phone through connections. Like he was using a phone, and I think eventually he was talking to his dad on the phone. And when Israel had an indication that he was using this cell phone to chat with them, they had a bomb in this phone that they detonated, and they blew it up. Do you know lithium batteries were this vulnerable before today? No. I don't believe that the pagers that were used were just lithium battery. Like there wasn't some day zero bullshit that you could just, there was something else put in these phones, probably, right? After the assassination of Yitzhak Rabin, I've heard Jewish people say both ways, the Palestinian Authority began to cooperate more closely with the Shin Bet. The Shin Bet learned that Ayash often spent the night in the Gaza City, home of Osama Hamad, a childhood friend whose uncle, Kamil Hamad, was known to the authorities. In October of 95, Kamil Hamad met with Shin Bet operatives demanding money and Israeli identity cards for himself and his wives. After they threatened to inform on him, he agreed to cooperate. Shin Bet agents gave him a cell phone and told him it was bugged so they could listen in on his conversations. They did not tell him that it also contained 15 grams of RDX explosives. Hamad gave the phone to his nephew Osama, knowing that Ayash regularly used Osama's phones. At 8 a.m. on the 5th of January 96, Ayash's father called him, and Ayash answered. Overheard, an Israeli plane picked up their conversation and relayed it to an Israeli command post. When it was confirmed that it was Ayash on the phone, Shin Bet remotely detonated it, killing him instantly. So they've done this stuff in the past. I don't think they've ever... Oh, former Shin Bet director Carmi Gillen confirmed the story in the documentary. I think generally the state won't ever confirm or deny things like this. But... How would they put something in thousands of pagers that could blow up? Do you think they were secretly involved in supplying the pagers? Yeah, my guess is probably something was like a man-in-the-middle attack, right? Something was probably compromised at some point in the supply chain, would be my guess.
So, if I say something,
It has to be something that gets him out, not you.
How could nobody notice? Because supposedly what they were saying is they put like, I think the theory right now is they just put like a little bit of an explosive powder basically in the phone, and then we're able to heat the battery up and make it explode with the powder.
So, if I say something,
It has to be something that gets him out, not you.
Because if you're out, we both
Then
have
you
to
both
drink.
drink down. Unless you're thirsty.
Unless you're thirsty.
I got you. Never have I ever
Oh, I know what you're gonna say.
jacked off to someone at this table.
No. No.
Ah, shit.
There's no way.
What?
I thought I'd get you with that one.
Wait.
I thought I'd get you with that one.
You're talking about me, right?
Okay. What does Ryan say? Wow, Thale Frastus. Thanks for the 5 gifted membership.
When you're doing intel, why don't I think that explosives were used in that attack on Team Yellow's pagers? When you're doing intel stuff, you always want to think of the most likely scenario. For example, I'm in New Mexico right now. If I heard hoofbeats behind me, I would think it was a horse, not a zebra. Number one, explosives leave a residue. And of the over 2,000 or so devices that were supposedly effective, I guarantee you, someone carrying one of these pagers got on a plane. That meant those pagers had to go through an X-ray, and they might have gone through explosive detection. And if you put a pager with an explosive through an X-ray at the airport, it's gonna alarm, and you're gonna get searched, and then you're gonna go, oh.
I mean, he could be correct on this, and he might know more about movements of different people than I would, but I don't know how much people who are in Hezbollah are like flying in planes around the world to go visit people or do things. Also, I don't know, it wouldn't surprise me if Hezbollah had decent operational security and things that they were using like pagers for military operations weren't taken with them on planes or anything like that. It would be my guess, but I mean, I could be wrong.
I wonder who sold us these pagers. So I don't think there was a weapon embedded in the pagers. Somehow Israel figured out how to make the pager a weapon. And since we've all seen videos where batteries catch fire, I don't think it is beyond the pale for someone to develop a software program that stressed the battery to the point where it caught fire or exploded. So think horses, not zebras, guys. And if you want to see what I'm doing, go to arrowmedlab.com.
I mean, those phones were exploding. Those were some serious holes in people's sides. It didn't look like just, I guess, I don't know. I'm saying that, but I guess what's the most brutal explosion you could induce in I don't even know what kind of batteries were in these phones. Were they, I think it was some kind of small lithium ion battery, right? Or they were pagers, but. Lebanon's health ministry updates the death toll on the pager explosions to 11. Another 4,000 are wounded, including 400 in critical condition, according to ministry numbers cited by Arab media. God damn. I wonder how sophisticated the pagers are software-wise. Can you even hack something out of the early 2000s that has ancient software? I mean, whether or not you can hack something doesn't really have to do with how old or how new it is. Because like something being old or something being new can both be indicators indicating both things, right? So for instance, like you could say that old stuff could be harder to hack because these are on platforms that have been tried and tested for decades that nobody has discovered vulnerabilities for, so they're likely safe. Or you could say stuff that is older could be easier to hack because it's fallen out of support and now it's not updated, and if new like vulnerabilities are found, nobody's updating the software or patching anything, so it could be fucked. So that could go either way, It also depends on how sophisticated I'm sure there are some, if it's like a PCB that just registers phone button presses that goes to a card, there might not be enough functions on that to hack to overload a battery, but who knows, it's, Samsung 7 phones exploding. Yeah, this kind of explosion. This battery is probably far larger than what's in those pagers would be my guess. And this type of explosion here, I don't believe is going to cause anywhere near the damage that I was seeing on the bodies in that hospital. Those people had huge holes in their stomach. That shit was fucked.
I forget exactly which official it was within the European Union, but sent Elon this threatening letter that basically said, we're going to arrest you if you platform Donald Trump, who, by the way, is the likely next president of the United States. So what America should be saying is, if NATO wants us to continue supporting them, and NATO wants us to continue to be a good participant in this military alliance, why don't you respect American values and respect free speech? Excuse me, it's insane.
What? You don't have to have our laws or our constitution.
That we would support a military alliance if that military alliance isn't going to be pro-free speech. I think we can do both.
What?
But we've got to say American power comes with certain strings attached. One of those is respect free speech, especially in our European allies. Look, I'm not going to go to some backwoods country and tell them how to live their lives, but European countries should
Why would you even say this?
Theoretically share American values, especially about some very basic things like free speech. The leader...
Okay. The circuit that protects lithium batteries from drawing too much current is generally inside the battery itself. It's not something facilitated by the phone /pager /whatever. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't know that. I don't know how much access one part of the device has to the other, or what could be vulnerable, right? In cars, I think basically everything is connected, right?
Meet the tiniest.
Well, I don't know if it is anymore. I know 10 years ago it was.
That before. Ooh. I think they pay people. I don't know. Pay people money.
What do you think paylocity sounds like?
That seems like a research of scientists. Velocity and pay combined. Paylocity, paylocity.
Paylocity is the future of HCM simplified.
This shows one of the pagers blowing up. Jesus. People said it's not that violent, but hold on, now I don't know if this guy's about to start dying. Oh, he's not dead. Oh, people like this S-fan stuff. Stay Safe TV. It turns out to be a crypto Nazi. Wait, did we already watch this?
Person. He was very sensitive to disgust, because you think, well, the Nazis were...
Imagine getting paged that the pagers they have explode. True. Do you know what the secret message was for the pagers to explode? We could think of some. Okay, watch about him for a minute. 1 sec.
And I'm an amateur, and I feel like I can read things fairly. I think it's more that he's an unfair historian. But would you agree there's a trend these days of kind of cut and paste, Control F history, where people just scour documents and they search on keywords and they find a quote here and a quote there, and they piece together like a Frankenstein monster version of any event that they want. You can find a quote from any great world leader who spoke a lot and had a diary to make any case that you want, and you need people to be of fair spirit, and that's really the problem.
What it is really is context. If you're going to make a quotation, you really should try to put it in some kind of a context. And in order to do that, you have to really very often go to the original sources. And that involves visiting archives and reading the evidence. And that's, I think, the problem with Cooper is that he certainly doesn't do that. I don't know whether he's written any books or anything like that. I think that would be a prerequisite for being considered to be an historian. I like you. I don't like the difference between supposedly professional and amateur in the world of history. I've been a freelance for a very long time, and since going down from Cambridge University. And so there is a very big difference between academic historians, popular historians, amateur historians, and so on. But the key differential should be whether or not, as you say, you're fair-minded, and whether or not you try to put a phrase here, a sentence there, into its proper historical context. And if you don't, if you're essentially driven by ideology and not a thirst for truth, then I don't care whether you're an academic or a professional or a popular historian. You're just a bad one.
Well, I got to give Darryl credit for one thing. He did get perhaps people interested in this aspect of history. And
do you don't think people were interested in the history of the Second World War before?
Well, I suppose so, but I myself I'm sure Noam delved into this more deeply. I delved into it a bit more deeply, and we got to talk to you. So people.
I'm happy that this thing came out from under its rock, because this was a hot thing in a certain group of people, and we weren't aware of it. And now we have eminent historians which are pouring cold water on it. And for a certain number of people who are actually fooled, this will disabuse them. And hopefully they'll snap out of it. And it puts Darryl on the defensive. He's had to revise and make excuses and explain why he made this mistake or that mistake. It's
pretty. I don't want to blow my own trumpet here, but 500,000 people have read my book, Churchill Walking with Destiny. If you want to know the answers to and the truth about all of these issues that Cooper has brought up, then it's not difficult, frankly, to do that. You just have to read the good books on the subject. Yeah. But I find it worrying that 33 million people have been listening to something that is so wrong, one-sided, based on no evidence, essentially. I don't think that that's something to be celebrated particularly.
Well, we got to fight the fight. One example: if you listen to his Fear and Loathing in New Jerusalem, is that what it's called, Dan?
Yeah, I believe so.
He quotes Seven Pillars of Wisdom, the T.E. Lawrence book, and he quotes it for something that suits his case.
There it is. Just there. There's a first edition of it. Just there.
Wow. And I went back and read it, skimmed it. It's very, very long, and in it, Lawrence just really is harshly describes the Arab mentality as he sees it. And as my first encounter with Darrell, I was like, look, if you want to quote Lawrence, that's fine, but don't let your listeners not understand that he regarded them as an illogical people capable of holding mutually self-contradictory ideas in their heads at the same time with no apparent uncomfortableness about it. Just an example of how, you take one quote, it needs to be known that Lawrence, as much as he was a champion of the Arabic people, he had a low opinion of them in certain ways. So tell your listeners that, and then give whatever quote you want. But he doesn't tell the listeners that. And that separates the men from the boys, in my opinion, in terms of historians and intellectuals in general,
Well, when you look at the people who've looked at this, or at least watched the video and then denounced it very eloquently, people like Victor Davis Hanson and Neil Ferguson and Steve Hayward, and there's another guy just did it today. It is it's intellectually it's an open and shut case, frankly, but that's not necessarily the way the internet works, is it?
No. All right, we have a few more minutes. We both have hard outs. Is there anything else at the top of your mind about what he said that you think needs to be discussed?
Yeah, it was something you said right at the very beginning of this conversation. It's a very interesting and stimulating conversation. You said that you thought that there had been a change in the climate since the 7th of October with regard to people's views about Jews. And my sense is slightly different, and that is that there has always been a sort of hatred that dare not speak its name. And what 7th of October did, and of course Israel's response 3 weeks after the 7th of October, was essentially to encourage people to speak its name, to be much more openly anti-Semitic. I consider the phrase "from the river to the sea" to be an anti-Semitic statement, and the way in which it's been seen out in our streets here in London, we have pro-Palestinian demonstrations every single Saturday still, and where that statement is seen on banners and T-shirts and so on, and so. I don't agree with you that there's been a change in the climate. I think there's been is the same underlying hatred, but the change is that it's much more sort of legitimized and relativized and public, and I find all of that very, very disturbing.
To what extent do you think anti-Semitism underlies this desire to cast Churchill as the villain and perhaps exonerate Hitler to some extent, or there's other factors involved perhaps as well?
I think there are many other factors, including obviously the war in Ukraine. I think has been mentioned in this conversation as well. The idea that we need to that at least pro-Putin elements need to legitimize and relativize the unprovoked assault of a large country against a smaller one. Which is what happened to Poland in September 1939 and which happened to Ukraine in the February of 2022. This is another example of an ideological position trying to use history and squeeze history into pre-considered ideological stances. So it's not just anti-Semitism. There's also an element of ultra isolationism as well, an anti-NATO feeling, and so on. But wherever it comes from, it needs to be fought, especially through rational discourse, which is what, of course, we've been trying to do today.
All right, sir, I'm going to let you go. I ordered your book, and I'm hoping that if you ever come to New York and you could stop through the Comedy Cellar, that you might sign it for me.
I must say, you guys, you've got a very strange view of comedy. We've been talking about the Holocaust. We've been talking about the outbreak with Adolf Hitler. Wow, the things you guys find funny.
Well, it's been one of the joys of my life that somehow I managed to take my position as owning a comedy club into a podcast and find myself with the ability to speak to great intellects and people like you. I pinch myself. I'm so happy to be able to do this, and I've so enjoyed our conversation. Do you get to New York at all?
My daughter lives there, so yes, I do try to. Yeah, absolutely.
Then you have to come down and say hello, see a show. A lot of intellectual people that you would know hang out at our club. Actually, it's become like a little salon.
I don't know that we've ever had a member of the House of Lords at the
No, we haven't.
Probably be a first.
Okay, well, Noam and Dan, thank you very much indeed. I've much enjoyed being on your show.
You have a stage 4 cancer. It's metastasized to your liver.
Jesus, that was a close call. We don't watch House here.